Hi, welcome to Saudi again. In this video, I'll talk about the concept called elaboration. Uh, some people consider this thing that in speaking and writing, the most important things are grammar and vocabulary. But if you go to the band descriptors, you will see that at band 6 or a band, okay, let's talk about band 6 only, which is 6 points higher than 0. So they have asked for something that is just understandable. They do not require the perfection. They do not require something that is, grammatically, I would say, empirical or empyrean. They have asked for something very, very basic, something for something that is all about being able to convey your thoughts. So you do not have to be a pro at grammar and vocabulary for you to be able to score a high score in the overall writing and speaking modules. It's all about actually, being able to speak and write themselves. If you do not do actually these two things, the basic skill of writing and the basic skill of speaking, your vocabulary and grammar are not going to help you at all. Now, what happens is that as has been our education system, we have never been told, we have never been taught how to actually elaborate on things, how to be able to speak at length, how to be able to, create something that actually makes you able to speak at length. We have all been about glamorous in regard to English, how fancy our words are and how complex our grammar is, but nobody has actually told us how to be able to think about things at deeper levels, think about things at in those depths where you are able to get to the internal mechanisms of things. And that is what is required in the band descriptors of writing and speaking, that you are able to develop your topics. In order to develop your topics, you have to go from the starting point to the end point. And if you have to do that, you have to know the intermediate steps, which is something that you do not know, which is something that is beyond the capabilities of an ordinary person. Because I'm talking about Indians only, because we do not try to, exert ourselves to that extent that we get into those depths. And even if I ask someone like, as has been the case with many of my students, as in if I ask them, maybe why do people get angry? It's natural. It's natural. Then why natural? Let's talk about the nature of it now. So today I'll discuss two questions with you. We will see how we can go from the starting point to the ending point, and how we can actually explain the thing just by explaining the intermediate steps. So let me discuss the questions now. All I'm going to do here is making you understand how you can speak at length. And if you do that, no, your fluency in Koreans will go at an 8. And it will go to an 8. And then even your pronunciation will be, when you speak more, you are able to pronounce more things. Then, of course, the pronunciation score will go to a very high level. Then, of course, grammar and vocabulary are required to be just adequate at band 6. And things are not very different when it comes to writing. If you're able to develop, you can get a very high score in task response, or task achievement is something else. That's part one. So let's see, why are old people stubborn? Like, if I ask this to a student, he would say it's their nature. It's something that they have with their age only. Now these are very generic versions, and overgeneralization is something that IELTS hates. So let's see. All people are stubborn because they have gotten to a stage where they think that nothing is beyond that. They think that they have lived the life. They have lived the life of being a human, and they have gotten all the things that are required to be someone who is at the pinnacle of being a human being. They think that younger people still have to go through those stages, and still, and since they haven't gotten through those stages, they have not accumulated that amount of wisdom, so they are inferior to them. So their stubbornness is in regard to the fact that they don't want to change. They don't want to change because they think, since people who are younger than us have not had the amount of wisdom and knowledge, then why should we listen to them? Why should we listen to someone who doesn't know as much as we know? That will be self harm according to them. And they actually do not realize the fact that human beings are prone to errors. Human beings are prone to leaving out things, so they might have left out certain things that the younger generation might have had at you know in their own time. So having something new is not a bad thing. It is not a particular set of wisdom or a particular set of knowledge that that everyone has through life. Life is very subjective and life is very individual. So certain things that a particular set of old people had throughout their lives might not have some elements that have been had by younger people in their own time, and they might be wiser than old people because they're the younger people I'm talking about, because their lives have been harsher or their lives have been more insightful. So this stubbornness is all about you know that superiority complex, and perhaps the narrowness of the narrowness in the perspective on life, that it is so objective that if we are old we have had everything, something of the sort. Now let's do the second one. Why are studies considered boring? Studies are not actually considered. They are considered boring just by their amount. Studies are not actually boring, I would say, because when I have seen myself and I've seen many people who have enjoyed studying, and that is actually happening when you do studies after a long time. Anything that happens after a long time is enjoyable because our body requires newness, our mind requires newness, and studies. If as in, I have seen that when I used to study after a vacation, I would be performing to the hilt. Otherwise, if I have been studying for about last 4 or 5 months, then of course the activity has become so monotonous that I don't want to continue it, and I need to do something else. I need to maybe participate in a new activity. That is why in any activity, when you are a rookie, when you are a neophyte, you will be performing like an eager beaver. But as soon as the things have come to the surface, or as soon as the things have become very routine, you kind of get so bored that you don't want to be pursuing the thing. And studies are very stimulating, I would say, when you actually solve a math problem, or when you are able to be better at the grammar than other people. You have that chutzpah, you have that audacity that okay, I have become superior, I have become better, or I have become innovative in the case of math, I would say. So, and otherwise also, if you are able to perform at chemistry, or in chemistry, or if you are able to become better at physics, you kind of think that you are intelligent also in the scientific terms. So it gives a certain amount of pleasure, just that because the academic curricula of Indian education are so continuous that you do not get enough breaks, or you do not get enough time to indulge, or you do not get time to get involved in different activities, that the boredom or the longevity of the classes or the curricula make you consider the academics maybe boring or monotonous. And if you see, there is nothing that is not boring in this world. If you eat a particular dish, 5 times a week, the sixth day you will consider it boring. And I think food is the most happening thing ever. If it can be considered boring, why not studies? And after that, studies may have this thing that they are considered to be very prolific, whereas it is something whereas in reality they are as basic as any other human invention or any other human characteristic. Whenever someone has had something that is academic, he or she is considered from the skies, or he is or she is considered empyrean, that this person has this ability. But things have come with time, things have come with hard work, and anybody can do them, anybody can have them. So they should not be anything that is mystical or metaphysical, or something that gives a person a tag that is beyond human limits. So nothing of that sort. Fine, it's not very difficult. Just to keep exploring the concept, keep relating it to your personal lives, keep relating it to something that has been the state of affairs for long in the newspapers or magazines. Read a lot. Read. See, I think reading is an activity that can improve, I think, every other module of English. It can certainly have an effect. So if you know more, you can speak more and write more. And even if you listen to something that you have read, I think listening becomes better also. So try to read more. It will have an impact that will, make you, can make you a top banana of this domain. Fine. So if you like this video, give it a like and subscribe to my channel. Thank you.